Hello everyone, welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. This week, Rangers take one step forward on a Thursday night and then go three at the back on a Sunday afternoon. I am Scott Carney and joining me tonight is Ryan Haymarch. First of all, how's it going, mate?
Hi, all good. Three's a magic number, but by the looks of it, we've got three of us tonight as well. All good, mate. Just about level myself out after the weekend. Looking forward to this free, not three, therapy session.
Therapy session, yes. And Scott Gemmell, just fresh on the door from work, mate. I appreciate it. How are you, man?
Yeah, evening guys. Me personally, I'm good. Following Rangers. We'll get into that, I'm sure.
Yes, we will. Alistair's not here. He has another engagement. Happy birthday to his better half. That's all I'll say on that. Before we get into things, just a shameless plug, as always, to support the podcast to reach the next level. You can join the channel for as little as 99p a month. You can also buy the podcast a coffee and join the Coffee Buying Legend membership via buymeacoffee.com. All the links are in the description for this podcast. If you could also like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're on the march to 5,000 subscribers for us for clowns, I suppose you could say. That's quite an achievement. That is quite an achievement. So yeah, if you could, that'd be very much appreciated. Right, gentlemen, I'm not going to hold it off too much longer because I've been waiting for this therapy session just as much as Ryan has. We're going to discuss, first of all, the Rangers Motherwell game. Now, first of all, before I get into anything and on this, before the people will come and say, I know they will, they'll say, oh, you're always so negative about this, you're also negative about that. I am happy the Rangers won the game. I am very happy that we got 3 points. I'm extremely happy. I'm even more happy the fact that we were lucky to get 3 points in the end. So before we go into it all, I want to say that of course I'm happy that Rangers won, but I think there's many things throughout that game that we will have to address, which we are going to try and do because it's good for us, it's good for the soul. Ryan, Scott Wright starts the game, kind of came out of nowhere, and the first thing that we seen, mate, was he was playing in completely the wrong position. Now, obviously the game overall, mate, we will break it down. It was a turgid watch. It really was. It was hard going, very much hard going, and I think Ali and I were pretty spot on with a post-match from the car that we were lucky in the end. We held on to a 1-0 win against Motherwell, which shouldn't really be the case. It shouldn't be the case, not at this stage of the season. But yeah, first of all, mate, Scott Wright coming in out the cold pretty much, and he plays him on the left.
Oh, why not? Rabbi Matondo has been a success on the left-hand side. Why not take him off the left-hand side, put him on the opposite side and bring in somebody from the cold? Well, the cold, I say cold, literally it's not the cold because he's been at Turkey twice, probably the only person to go to Turkey twice, not come back with teeth or hair done or a fake top. I don't know. I don't know where to start with that one. I thought it was a strange one. I didn't really say much before the game. I think I texted you guys and just kind of said Scott Wright ? He didn't play left wing, so I don't know who took that up. He kind of played a 10 at times, played inside the ball on Barisic. I don't know what that decision was. He's back to goal a lot as well. Bizarre one for me. I thought that the winning formula that I praised Michael Beale and his team, his coaching staff, for the tactics during the week, in which he played Kemar through the middle and two fast wingers on either side. I praised that. So obviously I've got to very much criticise the Scott Wright thing. I don't know where he was coming from with that one.
No, and don't worry, mate. We will talk about the overall performance. You will have time to have.
I was holding back. I had the handbrake on.
I know. I could. I could feel the handbrake was still on, mate. To be honest,
yeah.
that was very good, mate. Well done, Scotia. Yeah, we met in the pub beforehand, mate, and I was like, Scott Wright, and I just kept repeating to myself, Scott Wright. Well, I just couldn't get it, but I did think, right, okay, he's going to go for pace here. He's going back to something that we've seen before, a kind of tried and trusted way that we've won games before in terms of playing two wingers. Matondo's been on a bit of run of form recently. I expected to see him on the left, Scott Wright on the right. And am I being silly for just presuming that Scott Wright would play right wing when he is a right winger? He is. with all due respect to him, right, genuinely, he's very one-dimensional in terms of a player. He's not really a guy that I see having multiple positions he can play. He is just a right winger, kind of like Connor Goldson is a centre half. It's really as simple as that. A baffling decision to line up the way we did.
Yeah, I mean, on Scott Wright, right, we've got Wright until January at the earliest. He's part of the squad. He's there to be used. We're in the middle of another injury crisis. So he's an option that we can use. But like you say, it's the where he's getting played, this perplexing decision by Beale to set up the way he did. I mean, I think we all looked at it and we thought it would be Matondo on the left because Matondo's been playing well on the left, Wright on the right because you know he can offer us something there. Playing the way he did, it didn't really transfer well onto the game, did it? It was so confusing. It's one of these other decisions that it doesn't look like Beale knows what he's doing at times in terms of the lineup. I mean, like I say, use Scott Wright if we need to because he's there. Rather than using him if we need to because of the injuries. But yeah, it was just perplexing where he was starting that lineup.
Yeah, didn't make any sort of sense to me. And I kind of muttered to myself as I seen the lineup and the way we'd set up. I kind of went, of course, of course he's going to play him out of position. Why would he not play him out of position? Just a decision that kind of makes us look. It looks amateurish. It really does for me. You're not telling me that Scott Wright's been. What's the word I'm looking for? He's been coached or he's trying to be retrained into another position, and that's the reason we've not seen him for as long as we have. The reason we haven't seen him was because Michael Beale hasn't been playing wingers, but he kind of has resorted back to it slightly. So I did just presume two wingers, two out-and-out wingers, because Sima isn't a winger as far as I'm concerned, but we'll come on to players later on. But I just presumed that's what it was going to be, and of course it wasn't. Right in the goal, itself, I think Dessers, after seeing it back, I hadn't seen it. He doesn't stick a foot out. I think he tries to get out the way of it, and it kind of hits him. And he's a bit lucky that it goes up over the top of the keeper and into the net to score the only goal of the game. After watching the game back, mate, we weren't good for it at that point. We weren't really. It's not as if we were knocking on the door. And if anything, I think Motherwell had the better of the play and the better of the chances beforehand. But I did think at this point, mate, I thought, right, we've got the goal now. We're going to settle down. We're going to see a bit of football from us. It never really transpired.
No, we got lucky with the goal. Although it is one of my favourite type of goals because it's all about risk and reward, and I bang on about we don't take enough shots on goal. So I was happy to see that type of goal get in. Were we good for it? No. We weren't good for it, mate. Our passing was absolutely horrendous. Simple passing, and that's where you would excuse the management team because professional football players should be able to pass the ball 5 yards. Our passing was, in the words of Alex Ferguson, so scratchy. It was terrible. It was really, really poor, and it was constant. It wasn't just certain individuals. It seemed to be the full team. Coulson, Tavernier, Lundstrom, Lammers, the ball. All of them, I could go right through the team. They constantly gave the ball away. And then when Motherwell got the ball, they looked better at passing the ball about than we did. And we're at home, and we all know what Ibrox is like. We were very vocal on Saturday every time we lost the ball, and they deserved it. And unfortunately, you could see the players getting nervous, which they can't afford to do. But yeah, we got the breakthrough, we got the goal, and I was like you. I thought, you know what, this is just going to turn into one of these games where we'll just up a gear or two now, and we'll maybe get the 2-0, get the 3-0, and we'll get up the road. But no, I was very much mistaken, mate. It turned out different to what I thought it would.
Yeah, absolutely. Scotia, I say after the goal, Matondo gets injured. It was confirmed in the press conference today he's going to be out for 6 weeks. I never thought I would be saying that I'm gutted that Rabbi Matondo is injured for 6 weeks. But Ryan, I'm going to steal your point that you messaged earlier on in the group chat, mate. I think it's a clear indication of where the new signings are that we've made within this squad, that we're gutted that Matondo, who we didn't think was going to feature. Every one of us will openly say I think that we would have moved him on should an offer have came in. I think everybody would have. I don't know many Rangers fans that would have decided to keep hold of him. I'm sure there was some, because there always is. I'm not saying that wasn't no one, but for me he hadn't shown nearly enough. But the fact that we are disappointed now that Matondo's out for 6 weeks, it does highlight the problems I think we have with the recruitment so far, and the players really not coming to the front.
Yeah, it was grim to say the least on Sunday there. Very grim. Matondo, I mean, this is the issue. So this injury, we were just saying the same thing last season, injury crisis. We've got another injury crisis now because an awful lot of these players won't be back until just before or during the international break coming up. So we've got another couple of games to go through without them. Clearly, Sima and Ruth weren't fit enough either to start the game. That's why they were left on the bench. So with Matondo going out, it's really disappointing, and that's a lengthy time he's going to be out for as well, 6 weeks. So we know what those kind of 6-week injuries can be like. Those are the sort of ones that I look at and think that those are the ones you're more likely to break down during your recovery for. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but given our luck at the moment, you hope it would. But yeah, it was very grim at the weekend there, Carney. Like Ryan said there about the passing, it was awful. The only time we actually strung together some decent passing was for the goal itself. Done there, and then Dessers, let's be honest, gets pretty lucky with the way that the ball kind of goes through to him and he flicks it away. But we were so poor on Sunday, and it was just such a despondent day.
It was. I kind of got lost in the way that I was going to do this, so I'm going to come back to you, Scotia, because Matondo was really the point for me to trigger the three at the back, or the ultimately five at the back, because the way we ended up towards the end of that game. There was an audible, not gasp, but an audible head scratch, I think is probably the only way I can say, when the board went up for Matondo going off and we brought on John Suter. I could not believe it, mate. I was like, of all games to be doing this, he's decided that we're going to go three at the back against Motherwell at Ibrox. Now, Beale made comment after the game about gaining control and moving to a back three. If his goal was to have, or the control even was to have Davis, Suter and Goldson pass the ball between each other, then yes, he very much did regain control of the game. But that's not what we're looking for. That's not, in my personal opinion, mate, the three at the back. There was one move as we kind of broke, I think, forward in the second half. Well, that leads to Lammer's volley, leads to Lammer's volley. That I thought, okay, that was okay, but I don't think that was a result of us playing three at the back. For example, I think it was a baffling decision that I still don't really understand. And he can come out and say it's about saving players for midweek and all this and that if he likes. I think he just threw something different at it and ultimately made us worse.
Yeah, I mean, Beale's kind of been hinting that he's wanting to play the 3-5-2 for a while now that he's been doing it. That wasn't the game to do it in at the weekend there. That wasn't the players that you wanted at the pitch to be playing that type of 3-5-2. Yeah, it was that again. It was a bit of a baffling decision. But you look at who was there. What were his other options? Bringing on Lovelace, because clearly, like I say, Sima clearly wasn't fit enough. So like there wasn't much more.
Again, if he's fit enough to be on the bench, mate, then he's fit enough to play. Like he must have minutes in the legs. The game is by no means over, and we weren't playing very good. Completely changing the formation for me was, again, I know I've been screaming for an identity and for a shape and for a formation, but 3-5-2 in that game for me, mate, it's just clearly did not work.
Yeah, no, I'm not disagreeing that I don't think it was the right game to do it in, but I'm just looking at what other options did he really have, because with Matondo there, you're bringing off Jack, so you're bringing on Jack or someone like that. You're narrowing the pitch down again. So I think he done it with the best intentions, but I don't think it was the right game to do it. And I totally agree with you there.
Ryan, obviously the 3-5-2 is obviously to try and get our wings back up the pitch. Now, see when we play when we play the normal four at the back, mate, our wing backs still get up the pitch. I'm not sure the 3-5-2 is necessary for them and always to get further forward. And if anything, I think it actually reduced how much they got forward. I don't think it actually benefited them getting any further forward. What was your thoughts on the tactical tweak, I'll call it?
I'm going to be, I might be harsh here, boys, but I'm just saying how I saw it. For me, that was very much Michael Beale's caravan and dogs moment. I was perplexed, to say the least. I turned around to the guy behind me and I said, that can't be Suter. And he said, yeah, it is. And maybe I'm just not intelligent, but I was thinking, where is Suter playing then? I couldn't work out what he was going to do. And the guy went, he's going to play a 3-5-2. And as soon as he said that, I thought this is going to be a long afternoon. Because all you can do then is play shoehorn football. Like you want your fullbacks to go high and you play the 3. But we didn't, because Kettlewell, much to his credit, told O'Donnell, and sorry, I can't remember the boy on the left-hand side for Motherwell, was Spencer, I think it was, told them to play high. So as soon as Motherwell had the ball or they had a goal kick, they pinned Tavernier and Barisic right back to make us play a 5. And Bonner, Barisic and Tavernier couldn't get forward. That's how easy it is to play against us. And for me, boys, it really, I've said that red flags with Bale before, but that for me was really career suicide for me. It really, at a time when he doesn't need the fans to get on his back, that was just a brain fart of a moment for me, and I knew we were going to make it hard for ourselves. In terms of, I know what Scotia's saying, because the bench, I noticed that on Saturday, I thought that bench doesn't look strong, because we're obviously struggling with injuries, we are. And you have got to go on with it. You've got to have the squad depth, but you've got to go on with it. You can't play the sympathy card. But would I like to have seen Ryan Jack, or I don't know who else was there? Was it Seema, Roof? Yes, I would have. Yeah. For me, if you start with a 3-5-2 in a game, then I have no problem with that. You're trying something different, and if it doesn't work, you change it. But to change to a 3-5-2 at home to anyone, mate, I don't understand it. I don't see that as a Rangers mentality. I don't think you should ever change to a 3-5-2 when you're 1-0 up, European games aside.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I don't get why it was required. I think it stems back to, as well, a thing that we've said for too long now, probably as Rangers fans, is that we show opposition in Scotland too much respect. And I know that's me disrespecting them in the same sentence, but at the end of the day, these players are far better calibre than they're playing in the rest of Scotland. The old firm aside, we shouldn't really be needing to be too clever. And I said this in a previous pod, I just wanted Rangers to just play football. Just, you're good enough to go out and play. I think it was before the St Johnstone game. I said, you're better players than what St Johnstone have. Go out, play football, and just beat them, just win the game. And I know we did, but still the performance level was not great, and we're not seeing a great improvement. And I do think Sunday there was honestly one of the worst that I've seen. It was so poor. And I say, when you've got my dad who's been going to Ibrox for, don't know, 60 odd years, and he's going like, I'm bored of this. He's like, I am bored of this. And I'm like, God. And as you say, I've said it before, I always try and keep as positive as I can, and through it I'm going, I've got no argument here again. I've got absolutely nothing, because I just don't believe that we're doing anything. It was really turgid, really turgid.
Carney.
Scotia. Yes, go mate.
I think credit, and I know I'm jumping a wee bit, it's outside the game, but credit to me for Stevie Clifford asking the question of Beale's going on and he's banged the drum, so he deserves it in the neck for this, about talking about playing with the handbrake off. Now, we're 1-0 up against Motherwell and it's 11 men v 11 men, and he turns it to a 3-5-2, and Stevie Clifford rightly asked him, is that the style that you said to the Rangers fans you bring here, playing the handbrake off, bringing 3 defenders on and playing with 3 defensive midfielders, finishing the game? And credit to him for asking that question, because it's rightfully needs to be answered, mate.
I agreed, and I don't think Beale, he didn't enjoy it. He didn't enjoy getting asked that question. He cut a frustrated figure on Sunday, Michael Beale, at the side of the pitch. You could see it. And Stevie asking that question, I agree, mate. I thought, yeah, it's about time that he asks, like, what are you trying to achieve? What are you looking for? Is this it? Is this what you want to do? Because I don't think any of us really believe that is fully what he wants to do, but no, credit where it's due, mate, for that. Scotia leads me on to new signings anyway. Dessers, Lammers, Cifuentes. I'll start with Dessers. I've been trying. I have been trying to be like, no, something there, something we can do with him there, something we can do. On Sunday, he was awful. I know he got us the goal, but I don't really understand his game as a striker. He doesn't really seem to battle very well. He doesn't also understand the offside rule, but he maybe just been kicking a ball about with Sakala for that. But he's not particularly good with his back to goal. He's not very good at hold-up play. I'm not seeing anything from him, mate. I'm really not seeing anything at all. Lammers, on the other hand, I think there's a player in there. He seems to be involved in the game but have no effect on the game, if that makes any sense at all. He seems to be involved but doesn't really have a real effect. And Cifuentes, I thought he looked terrified the entire time he was on the pitch. I didn't think he was great at all. So they three, mate, on you go.
Yes, well, this probably applies to all three of them, to be honest. Like an overall kind of summary of them, as I'd said a month or two back, that I'll give them time to like, try to settle in and see what they're doing. Giving them time now, and I'm still not completely writing them off. Still think it is far too early, but I am not seeing signs of improvement really from any of them. Really, Lammers, like you say, he does kind of flash up and be moments, but they're not moments that actually go on to impact the game too much. He's don't feel confident in him scoring when he takes shots. You just think he's taking a shot that's going straight to the keeper. Dessers is cutting a frustrating figure. I don't know if he'd be better in a 2. I don't think we've really seen him playing a 2.
That's true.
Because Beale's changing his tactics all and formations all the time, that we've never really I don't think we've ever played with the 2 up top and Dessers and a roof, or a Dessers and Danilo. Maybe attempted it for small periods of the game. But yeah, frustrating. And then Cifuentes, yes, he's one that I think is going to take a lot longer to get up to speed, because he's clearly not used to Scottish football. He came on to a decent game against Betis there. I don't know if that style playing against that style of opposition suited him for that, but for the bread and butter of the Scottish game, we've seen this with other players in the past, that I don't think he's up to speed for the Scottish game just yet. And yeah, it's frustrating with all three of them, because I had high hopes, particularly for Cifuentes and Lammers. And at the moment, they're just frustrating more than anything else.
I would go along with the same lines, that I'm pretty frustrated at Cifuentes and Lammers, because I do generally, whether it's blue tinted glasses or not, I do generally believe there's players in there. Ryan, I think one of the most concerning one for me, there's 2, if I'm going to be brutally honest. It's Sima and Dessers for me, but I'm like, I don't know what you are, what you offer, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. I know what their weaknesses are. It's blatant, but I'm trying my hardest, mate, not to take the right players off as early as this, but the time has passed now, as Scores had mentioned, mate. They've had time to settle in here, and we're still nowhere near getting enough product from them. They're so far off it.
They're miles off it, mate. They're absolutely miles off it, and it's so frustrating. I always go on about, and it's hard not to, but you look at some of the times that lot sign players and they hit the ground running, and that's what we are desperate for that. And once again, players are struggling to adapt to Scottish football, playing for Rangers, everything that goes with that. There's players for me that are going into their shells a bit. Sima, I'll be honest, I have not seen anything at all. I can't remember.
Apart from that goal, that was a peach.
But
that was a peach.
I would probably put money on it that we could be sitting here in May and probably say, remember that goal? At least he scored that goal. I feel as if he is one of those players that will live off that for the rest of his career at Rangers. I do not see it with him, unfortunately, and I hope I'm wrong. Dessers trying too hard all the time for me.
Yeah,
he is not he's not a sole striker either. He can't play that role himself and hold up, mate. He's not the Pete Morelos that we all want him to be. He is not that type of player. He is a number 9. I think he'd probably play better in a partnership. He is not a boy who I see taking much from deep cross balls and get himself towering over defenders and putting in the back of net. You won't get much from him in that sense. So he looks lost. He looks lost. He is trying, the guy, but he looks lost. And Saturday, I was just thinking to myself, when can we bring Sunday? When can we bring Kmart Roof on? When can we bring him on? When can we get this guy off the pitch? And we shouldn't be thinking like that. I want to back this guy. I want him to be successful. Of course I do. But I see very, very little. And it's frustrating because we've spent money on Dessers. I mean, Beale flew to Italy. I'm trying not to laugh when I say this. He flew to Italy to convince this guy to come and sign for us. And I just don't see what we've seen in him. I would love to see the scouting report, because I think it was De Boer come out at the time and he did have his say on him, and he said he's a very frustrating figure if you don't get the right deathers, serial deathers. And yeah, he's had plenty of chances now. He's had his 2 weeks where he was 2 weeks behind everyone. Yeah, it's what is this going to get into October now, mate? He should be up and running, and he is miles off it. He's not the only one, but he's miles off it. And if Kmart Roof's fit, then Kmart Roof plays for him every single week.
Every single day of the week. On a positive note, Ryan, people have been asking about your cat, so they will be absolutely delighted. For those that are watching, Ryan's cat just made an appearance. For those that are listening, even Ryan's cat just made an appearance on the podcast there, so people will be absolutely delighted about that, mate. Good to see her, mate. Good to see her.
And see, for anyone who thinks that they don't get content for nothing, there you go. You've tuned in, they've saw my cat. What else do you want from us?
What else do you want out of life, mate? What else do you need out of life? Yes, exactly.
And you're also just about to see me let her out because she wants out. 2 secs.
All right, no worries, mate. No problem. The Scotia will come on to Butland. I think he is pretty much the only positive from the game. He is absolutely superb, and he is a signing that has worked out. But there's no other way of looking at it that he got us away from Ibrox with 3 points. On him and a last ditch clearance from James Tavernier as well got us out of 3 points. But we shouldn't really be sitting at this stage of the season talking about our goalkeeper, our new goalkeeper, being probably one of the men of the match. Because he was, and I think that tells a story within itself. But there is no doubt that Butland has worked, and I do believe that he gets it, because a few times he bollocked that defence in front of him.
Yeah, thank God for Butland coming in, because I don't know where would. I don't know if McCrory would. I think he'd be able to put in a good showing as well. But Butland's come in and he's taken that shirt, made it his own. It is concerning that we're sitting in October, just coming into October, and if we were to turn around and ask for a player of the season, it would be Jack Butland, and I think that would be the vast majority of Rangers fans would pick Jack Butland as their player of the season, not Kenny Potty. You want to be saying you want your goalkeeper to be an important part of your team and contribute to picking up points and winning in games, etc. But right now, it's a bit worrying that he is the one that we're kind of talking about. Oh, that was a good save by Butland there, and it's one of these ones that I just. You get the fear that then he's looking at it going, oh, this wasn't what I signed up for. I signed up for something a bit better. And, he's because he's that English goalkeeper, that he'll be well thought of down south. He'll be wanted. Teams will look at him and go, yeah, we could use him as backup, because, obviously the English teams have got the same rules as us in terms of homegrown players and whatnot. It's good to have Jack Butland in the team, but I want to be at a stage where we're not talking about him as being our best player after games, like you say.
Yeah, I would love to be at that stage. I can't disagree with you, mate, that you want a quality goalkeeper to be called upon when he's needed and when the chances do come. But right now, he's too much. He's in the conversation too much for the positive impact that he has on the games, and a positive impact a goalkeeper has is making saves. So that tells you everything about the way Rangers are just now, and especially the way that Sunday went. Ryan, the reaction at full time, I've honestly, off the top of my head, mate, I can't remember boos at full time after a Rangers win. Now, again, I've said this again, people can express their dissatisfaction with what they're watching any way that they like. They've paid for their tickets, so that's completely up to them. I get it. I am not one that does it, never have done it. But I think the reaction, mate, isn't solely down to what we've seen on Sunday. This is the whole season just coming to a kind of crescendo, and people are at the point where they're at the end of their tether because we are seeing no improvement.
Yeah, the kettle is just a bit boiled, mate. It's just a bit there. It's a horrible place to be, Ibrox, when it's like that. I have no issues with fans booing if they want to boo or they want to walk out early or whatever they want to do. You pay for your ticket, you're more entitled to do so. You work hard for it, and have no issue with it. I think the booing is not solely targeted at Michael Beale. I think it's performances. Obviously, not the results haven't gone the way we want them to. I think the effort from players, they look disinterested, disengaged from what the manager wants them to do, lack effort sometimes, no drive, they don't look hungry. So I think the players are getting it as well. I don't think this is solely at Michael Beale. And Yeah, mate, I don't, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be the last time. I just don't see this change. I know we're probably going down this route, how this can change with the transfer window being closed and Michael and the noises we're hearing from press conferences and interviews, etc., that things are going in the right direction, apparently. So I don't see it changing, unfortunately. So strap yourself in. But yeah, fans are entitled to their opinion, mate. I genuinely don't have a problem with it. I am with you. I tend not to boo the team. I do a lot of shouting during the game and going like a maniac and voice my opinion, but no, I tend not to boo. But listen, mate, if Rangers aren't hitting the standards that we expect, and again, I'll caveat with this: we pay a lot of money. Football fans pay a lot of money to go and see this, and we give up a lot of time. You can spend with your family or your friends or whatever. I've got 2 kids that I could have spent the afternoon with on Sunday, and I didn't. I chose to go to Ibrox. And fans are getting frustrated, mate. They are getting to the point where they're fed up with us, and they're fed up with the same noises coming out and the same excuses, and we'll learn from it. We'll strive to do better, blah, blah, blah. You need to do talking on the pitch, mate. You could snip our podcast for the past year at least, and we say the same thing over and over. They need to react. They need to do better the next game, and they're just not doing it. And they will feel the wrath of the support if something goes wrong soon.
Yeah, Scotia, it's an unhealthy position for any manager to be in, that he is literally a defeat away from disaster, because Ibrox will not put up with it. There's absolutely zero doubt in it. There is no wiggle room anymore. Beale has to get it right from pretty much now till the end of the season, probably, I would imagine, unless Celtic have some form of collapse and we end up a significant margin ahead. His comments after the game, I'm glad that he came out and he looked pretty annoyed. He looked very, very frustrated and annoyed after the game, rightly so. His comments about the players, I get it. I get what he was saying, and I am almost to the point where I didn't feel sympathy for him, but I was like, no, hang on a second. I think I need to rethink the way I'm thinking as well, and just stop constantly blaming Beale. The players need to take a form of responsibility from this. Beale can't make them play better football in the sense of upping their game and just being a professional football player. Ultimately, the team let him down on Sunday. Is there a bigger issue there? The fact that they're going, again, though, we as fans don't know what you're doing. Do the players going the same to Beale? We don't know what we're doing, but I do still think there's an element that the players will need to take some form of responsibility for this as well.
An awful lot of the players, you can see them on the pitch. Now, there could be reasons for this. We might come on to them. I've kind of hinted at kind of some of my concerns previously in previous pods, but the players aren't playing well enough. We went through there the new signings and Lammers, Dessers and Cifuentes, etc. But Tav's not had a good season so far. He's been pretty poor. Lundstrom's been okay. He's come on to a better game, but it's just okay. It's not great. There's nothing. And like we say, Butland's been the only one that we really turn around and go, no, you've been at the standout. So it is a bit concerning from the players. They need to up it. I don't know if they've got an issue with what Beale's trying to do. Is he not getting the message across properly? Is the backroom staff not getting the message across properly? Is there a disconnect there? I don't know. I don't think it's something we'll ever find out until years in the future, when people come out and talk about things. But it's kind of unsustainable where we are in terms of the performances. I turn this around to you, Carney. Ask you a question. I don't know if you were going to come on to this, but I don't know if you've seen Rhys McCabe was on that A Pint and Two Shots podcast.
Right.
And he get asked about performances over results. And he turned around and said, no, it's bullshit that the results over, he wants the performance over the results. And I know it's something we've said before, but where we are as fans, we're all frustrated because the performances in the league domestically have been so poor. And like Rhys McCabe said, it wasn't sustainable. And we are going to eventually hit with this. Similar things happened under Gio. We're going to get to the stage, maybe tomorrow night, maybe Sunday, that performance translates into a draw or a loss. And yeah, like you mentioned, Beale goes out. I don't know your thoughts about that.
I think you're spot on, mate. The fact that it's not sustainable, this can't continue, because we will. I mentioned it in the post-match after the game. It's okay that we're winning games in terms of we're kind of slugging it out, but I think eventually that won't happen. There's going to be the time that Butland doesn't make that save, and that's not me having a dig at Butland. I'm just saying the laws of averages, he'll not save one of them. And then, I think if Motherwell scored in from maybe 75 minutes onwards, I think there's a high risk that we lose that game. Not only just draw it, I think we lose it, because I think the players would have chucked it because they just weren't there from the get-go, really, on Sunday. So it's very valid, mate. I think there has to be a balance, of course there does. And I think I mentioned it after the St Johnstone game, there wouldn't have been a reaction the way there was to it if we'd been playing superb football up to then. But the fact that we're not, we all know how this happens. We're not, football fans are not silly. You can't convince your eyes that it's not seen what it's seen, if that makes sense. We all know what we're seeing. We all know how this goes. And I think the frustration is building and building and building. But I 100% agree there has to be some form of balance. We have to, at points, play brilliant football, blow teams away. There shouldn't be any issue really with it. But we're not seeing that. We're seeing very, very poor performances. And Sunday was just a combination of absolutely everything all poured into one. Ryan, what's your thoughts on Scotia's point there?
Yeah, I know what he's talking about. I've seen Rhys McCabe on that, and because I know he's doing well with Airdrie, I think it is. And he makes a point. For me, the whole I saw the odd person saying it's all about getting 3 points. That's all it's about. That doesn't wash for me. When you are not playing well in between, if you want to say, I think the 3 points thing counts when you're maybe in a title race and you're at the end of the season and you're just scraping through in March, April, May, and you're scraping results together. That's when the old 3 points is all that matters. Part of works and it washes. When you're struggling and you're 4 points behind in a handful of games already in the league, and you've put in a few dismal performances, including in Europe as well, I don't think the 3 points is all that matters. Part of washes. I don't buy it at all, especially with Rangers having to go through this transitional period and bringing players in. I think we expect a lot more for what we're paying for. Rangers need to put performances in, need to pull their socks up and put performances in and start entertaining the fans. I think we could touch on what you said earlier on about showing teams too much respect. They do. This management team and players come out and say, I think Kmart said it today, football's not complicated. Well, why are we complicating it so much then? Why are we changing tactics and playing to watch what the opposition are doing? And we're the ones that are complicating it. Go out, win football matches, attack these teams who come to Ibrox, and then take it from there, because that type of performance, mate, we won't get away with that again. Motherwell will be kicking themselves from Sunday, mate. Make no mistake about it. They deserved at least a point on Sunday. And they're a decent team. They looked well organised under Kettlewell. I was impressed when he just pushed his fullbacks onto our fullbacks when we changed to the 3-5-2. So it won't wash for much longer, mate. And yeah, I don't buy the 3 points is all that matters part of, sorry.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when the losing team is the most satisfied out of the game, I think that tells its own story, because Motherwell were happy at their performance than we were at getting a win. So in itself, I think that tells a story. Right, gents, we'll move on to the pretty crucial quarter leg. The quarter leg, I mean, come on. That's just because we've had like half an hour of negativity there. my brains went mush. The quarter final of the League Cup against Livingston on Wednesday night. Kick-off is at 8 p.m. Livi, league form so far: 1 win, 3 draws and 2 lost. We won 4-0 last time out against them, the first home game of the season. Scotia, the press conference was today, and it was Neil Banfield and Kmart Roof that spoke to the press. I've had my say on Twitter really about Neil Banfield's presser, so probably the less said about it the better. But I'm not being disrespectful to the guy, but his responses were just not good. They were not good at all. He is in an impossible position, which I completely understand. There was nothing he could have said that could have made things any better, but some of the comments he made, he didn't really need to make. One of the comments was, we were happy with some of the play and performance during the Motherwell game. And no, I'm sorry, that's just not going to wash with us right now. It's not going to wash anywhere near it. He should have just kept it simple, and he didn't. Am I being overly harsh on him, mate, to be completely honest? But it was pretty horrible to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I remember his press conference from back when we played Morton. back in the last round of the League Cup as well, and I wasn't a massive fan of that press conference. This one, the comment about Motherwell, like you rightly say, I think that's rubbish. You shouldn't have said that, because like we say, there wasn't, apart from the play for building up to the goal, that was the only good passage of play that I think, and it wasn't even that long a passage of play. Yeah, that was a daft comment. The one about the PSV, that we beat PSV, I think that's just a slip of the tongue. I can forgo
That's
that.
a brain fart. Yes, that is.
That
Had a brain fart. That
happens all the time. If you go back through the archive and listen to this podcast,
listen to us, yeah.
What did I call him? What did I call him? The boy that played for Hibs.
Craig Porteous. Craig Porteous.
That was it. Yes. Yeah. So it happens. I'll let him forgo that. But yeah,
you've also said that you hate the Welsh on this podcast, and I think I put Ridvan in goal, in defence, and Ali has put Steven Gerrard in goal as well before on this podcast. That's one's off the top of the head anyway.
Yeah, so it can happen, but it was a difficult one for him to come out and do, because the fans aren't happy with the performances right now, and he was never going to, anything he said, it was probably going to get picked up and pulled apart a wee bit, but it is what it is. He'll be doing the press conferences for the League Cup, and I'd imagine for the Scottish Cup probably as well, at least up until the semi-final and final stages, should we make it that far. It was what it was. There's not much more I can dissect into it.
No, I know, Ryan, but without me trying to make something out of that's ultimately nothing that will be forgot about rather quickly, I just felt like the way it is just now with Rangers and the Rangers support, and the way the press will be looking for any sort of snippet that they can get out of whoever's taking the press conference. I just thought Beale would have pulled rank today and just said, "Look, I know we agreed we would do this, but I'll go take this one for you."
I'd have hoped the Rangers press team would have pulled rank and just said, listen,
true.
The best thing for the club at the moment is for you to go out there, even though I understand, like we spoke about it before we started recording, they're scheduled to do these press conferences. You take your turn this game, you take your turn that game. There's a table, there'll be a schedule for them to do it, and I totally get that. Things change. I'm a resource planner. Things change day to day. I know how it works, and for me, Rangers should be looking at reading the room, as people say, and knowing that we want to see Michael Beale and we want to see him being assertive and giving us the answers we want to hear. I felt sorry a wee bit for Banfield. I know he's probably used to the press all the time, and he'll probably look back and think, do you know what, I probably shouldn't have said that, I shouldn't have said this. But the Rangers fans are looking for anything, never mind the press. We're looking for anything. If you say the wrong thing, then we are like dogs at the moment, mate. And I'm certainly like that. When I read a few of his comments, I was like, aye, very good. I really enjoyed myself on Sunday. Just not the best decision from the club, mate. But it's done now, and to contradict myself, all that matters is the win tomorrow night.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know exactly what you mean, though. Ryan, I'll come back to you, mate. Your thoughts ahead of the Livingston game. Look, the weather doesn't look like it's going to be particularly great. So if you are going, be well prepared. You're in for probably a rather wet night. No more so than you, Ryan, because you sit at about 3 rows for the front. But I don't really know what to expect from Rangers tomorrow night. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't really know what we're going to see. The injuries is a big worry for me now, because we are looking thin on the ground in numerous areas, and especially ones that you would think would be able to make an impact in a game like this. We don't have them. So what is your thoughts ahead of the game tomorrow night? What do you expect?
I am extremely anxious about tomorrow night, mate. Extremely anxious. I heard Storm Agnes is going to make an appearance. Whether she plays up front or not, I don't know. Martindale's holding the cards. I heard he said something today like the reaction is probably an overreaction by the Rangers supporters or whatever. Very good, David. You know exactly why the Rangers fans were booing, and he'll know exactly how Rangers are playing. So I think he's playing it clever there. I think he'll tell his team to frustrate as always. You go to Ibrox or Celtic Park, you try and frustrate the opposition, but Rangers are very easy to frustrate just now. If we don't score or show some sort of urgency and direct play in the first 10 minutes, that place will turn. There is no doubt about it. I'd expect him to just keep contained, force us out into the wings and make us play deep crosses. That's what I would expect Martindale to do tomorrow night. And if he does, we're in for a storm of a night. If we keep the weather team up, mate, I'm very anxious tomorrow night. I feel as if we have no consistency to us. We've not got into any rhythm of play. There's just nothing happening at the moment. I would love to say Rangers will win 4-0 and we'll get something, we'll spring from that onto Saturday, because Saturday's huge. And I don't understand this mentality of, I know I'm bouncing all over the place here, but when Beale said, I wanted to keep guys for Wednesday, why? Why? Because the next important game is the next game. The league, that game against Motherwell was the most important game in Rangers fixtures list. You can't be thinking about Wednesday and thinking, I need to keep Roof for that. Roof should have played. If Roof was fit, he should have played on Sunday, sorry. And that's what worries me about this mentality. And let's just hope Rangers go out there and show a bit of urgency. If they show urgency and hunger and try and play the ball fast and apply themselves, Lundstrom's the one for me who's stepped up the past 2 games, and Scotia's right to say he's not been outstanding, but he has stepped his game up and he deserves credit for that. Every other player, including the captain, need to do the exact same thing tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Scotia, do I dare utter the words, will we see a reaction?
Oh, I'd like to think so, because I'm not, like probably an awful lot of people, I'm not massively looking forward to this game. Probably the weather forecast for it doesn't help matters, but usually on a weekday game, a work week, I'm worrying, will I be up in time for kickoff? For tomorrow, I'm kind of like, look, if I'm 5 or 10 minutes late, I'm not that bothered. If I'm 45 minutes late, I'm not that bothered. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to it. And we do need a reaction from the team. We need something. We keep on saying, like, we need something that kind of turn around so that we can go, right, no, we've seen something there, because we've not really seen anything domestically. I know we played Livingston and beat them 4-0 earlier in this at the start of August, but I don't think we scored the last 3 goals in that game in the last sort of 15 minutes, I think.
It wasn't a good game. Aye, it wasn't a good game.
So, and I watched Livingston as well. I watched their game at the weekend against Celtic, and I thought once Hart had got sent off, I really thought they should go out and do something. They didn't really step it up. So I can fully know what type of game we're going to get. It's a league cup game as well, so that gives Livy that added incentive, maybe somewhat more over a league game would do. Yeah, I'm not looking forward to the game tomorrow. Let's just put it that way.
No, I don't think many are, mate. I don't really think many are. But we're at the point now where we've said this probably before, but there is no more excuses for it anymore. I don't want to hear even about injuries. I don't want to hear about new players and bedding in and gelling and all this. We're past the point of all that now. Sunday was the end of it for me. We can't have excuses anymore. There is no excuse that we don't, no matter what team we field tomorrow night, that we shouldn't be going out and getting ourselves into the next stage of this cup. For me, it is as pure and as simple as that. Ryan, do you dare predict a team and a score, mate?
Over to you, Scotia. No, I will. Okay. I'll go for it. I think Bill needs to go with, like, he needs to stop trying to do these master strokes and these, the likes of Scott Wright. I mean, where did that come from? That can't happen tomorrow night. You can't try to play these, like, this that masterful tactician. He needs to stop it and just, for me last week, he got it right and I praised him. And I wanted to see, if not the exact same team on Sunday. And, well, we didn't. So we'll go Butland, Tavernier, Goldson, Davies, Barisic, Lundstrom, Cifuentes, Lammers, Seema, Roof, and Dessers.
What's your score prediction?
I will go 2-1 Rangers, and I'm going to go for Roof first goal scorer.
I would not be shocked if Scott Wright plays tomorrow night. I'm not going to lie. I would not be surprised if to see him continuing in the team because of the lack of Matondo. He might keep him and try and use him as the impact sub, but my teammate is exactly what you've picked. That's what I would pick. I would we don't need Lundstrom can sit there and do that job. So Fuentes, Lammers, everybody can get themselves forward, because Livingston are not going to come and have a go, not within the first hour, 65, 70 minutes anyway. They're not going to bother. They will try their hardest to frustrate Ibrox and make it quite a frustrated crowd, which, as you mentioned, mate, won't be hard. I will go for 2-0 Rangers, and I'll go as well Kamar Roof to score first, but my team is exactly the same as yours, Ryan. Scotia, any difference to that?
I was just looking at the starting 11 for the lineup in the squad for the Rangers B team versus Alloa in the Challenge Cup tonight, and I know that Devine, King and Rice aren't in that squad, so I would expect them to be involved in the first team squad tomorrow. But it is this stage where we cannot afford to lose this game, because if we do, Michael Beale will be gone. And so for that reason, if we weren't in the kind of situation that we've kind of just discussed about as being in there, I would have probably played McCrory in goals, but no, we need to go out and win it. So my team's pretty much the exact same as yours, except I'm bringing in Yilmaz to start over Barisic. But yeah, so same as yours apart from Yilmaz. And I'll go 2-0 Rangers with Sima to get the first goal.
Yeah, I know, as you say, we are contradicting ourselves, but it's imperative for Michael Beale's future to win tomorrow night. There just can't be any excuse for it, because I do believe if we go out there, does it go to extra time and penalties, or is it just straight to penalties or something? Is it extra time and penalties?
I think it's extra time and penalties. I think.
Is it? So even, should we come to that stage where it is that, then we just can't afford to get beat tomorrow night. We can't afford it, because I do think if we go out the cup tomorrow night, it's over. As far as I'm concerned, it's as simple as that. After Sunday and after if it was to happen, the worst was to happen tomorrow night, then I don't see how he survives. But that's not going to happen. Rangers are going to come out and play fantastic football, I hope, tomorrow, and we manage to get ourselves through the cup. But if you're going to the game like I am, make sure you're wearing waterproofs, because it's going to be extremely wet. By the looks of it, it's going to be extremely wet. For tonight, Ryan, I hope the therapy session helped me, and thank you very much.
Thank you, boys. Yeah, it always helps. Sit with my thoughts at my laptop during the week and absolutely had it on my head like porridge, honestly. Thinking about Rangers now, same as everybody else is. So it's always good to talk to your pals about Rangers and try and dissect it as much as we can. But all we can hope for is a performance tomorrow night and play up the Glasgow Rangers as always. So hopefully you enjoy your game, boys.
Hopefully, mate. I hope so. Scotia, thanks, mate.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, we need to stop having these pods, because I'm getting fed up with them. Just repeating the same thing after. No. So yeah, as Ali would say, over to you, Rangers, and then let us have something decent to talk about.
Please let us have something decent to talk about, Rangers. That's all we can hope for. So yeah, I hope your team very much wins tomorrow, and I hope we play a lot better football than we've seen on Sunday. We will be back tomorrow night after the game with a reaction in some form or another. So until then, enjoy the game. We will speak to you tomorrow after it. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.